Alright, up next is Blood Oath, released by Troma. Now, you may see two names on here that you recognize, Tiffany Shepis and Tina Krause. Don't get confused, this is just another selling point. Neither of these ladies star in the movie. They both die within 5 minutes of appearing, 5 to 10 minutes of appearing. So they are not in the movie very long. Just another marketing scheme, selling point. Let's put the two biggest stars we have and say they're starring in it, but they're not. Now, pretty much typical slasher in the woods type deal. Quote from Lloyd Kaufman on the back: better than anything Troma ever made. No. I'm not a big fan of Troma, but I mean, shit, The Toxic Avenger, Citizen Toxie, Poultrygeist, they're all 3 times, 4, 1,500 times better than this. It's not garbage, but anyway. Group of 20-somethings, shocking, huh? Go into the woods. Shocking. Wow, this is all new to us. And for a weekend of fun. The very first night, they start telling a story. Now, this is probably the best part of the film. Truly, is the story of the killer. Now, I'm going to tell you the story of the killer. Anyone that's seen the movie, I may get this a little bit wrong because I just don't really remember the entire story. But, in a nutshell, here you go. In the 50s, a very happy couple is pregnant again. Now, they've had miscarriages in the past, so they're a little concerned. One night, a strange woman appears on their doorstep, and she notices the woman is with child, and the man says, yes, we're very excited, but we're very worried because of the miscarriages. And the woman laughs and says, you will have twins, but to ensure that they are healthy children, she said, I'm going to give you this gift, and it's a vial. She says, I'm going to you need to put a drop of blood of each of your blood into the vial and bury it somewhere in the yard. And she gives them this thing and leaves. So they think it's a little strange, but they go ahead and do it anyway. They both put drops of blood in there, go bury it in the yard. Well, weeks after this, all kinds of problems are happening. Financially, they're sinking. They've had to sell all their possessions. It's just been a terrible time. Well, the woman goes into labor, and they live in the middle of nowhere, so they have to drive all night long to the hospital. They don't return for a week. When they return in the night, and as they pull up to their house, the strange woman is dancing on their porch in the moonlight. Now that image creeped me out a little bit. You imagine coming home, you live in the middle of the woods, and some strange woman's dancing on your porch. That's kind of weird. Anyway, she sees them coming, and she points to the piece of ground that they buried the vial. And basically she tells them everything comes at a price and they must sacrifice one of their children. Well, they refuse, and she comes after them. They start to leave in their car, and the leaves start attacking their car, and the forest seems to come alive with anger. And she jumps out in front of the car, and the car hits a tree on the side of the road. The two children, they had twins. One was ejected, sent into the woods. The other hits the dashboard. Legend has it, one survived, was adopted by a family. The other, no one knows what happened to. Some say the old woman, well, not old, but the strange woman took the child and raised it as her own. And they say the cabin in the woods is still there, and if you can find the cabin, you may just find the strange woman. So, of course, what else are they going to do? Let's go find this cabin. They go find the cabin, and the cabin is real, and shit starts going down. Nothing new at all here. I guess the biggest problems for me were, these were honestly the biggest problems I had. One, to me, I found the killer to be silly. He basically is a big, it's like they didn't know if they wanted a Leatherface type character or like, I guess he is kind of a Leatherfacey type thing. It's just burned on one side. Hair looks like to be a wig and kind of out of shape and out of whack. And the costume he wears is a giant t-shirt made out of different fabrics. It looks like he's wearing a quilt, which to me, I'm sorry, is just ridiculous. His weapon's okay. It's a big giant, I don't even know what you call them, huge blade on one end of a giant stick, whatever the hell that is. The kills, for the most part, you don't see any major kills. You see a lot of blood splatter on the face, blood coming out of the mouth, but you don't actually see blades going into flesh or anything like that. There is one or two, but they're not very well done. And the other huge problem I have with it is the day for night shots. Oh my god, they drove me nuts. I'm sorry, I understand it's low budget, you gotta do what you gotta do. I'm not saying it's your fault, whoever you are, filmmakers. I get it's time and money is time, and you gotta do what you gotta do, but Jesus. Day for night shots just annoy the shit out of me because you can tell so easily. I've never seen day for night. You know what? If they've been done well, then I didn't know it. So that's a good thing. But mostly, if they're day for night, I can tell. And these weren't horribly done. I've seen way worse day for night shots, but it's obvious. And a lot of it is day for night. It just really, I couldn't pay attention to anything but the damn day for night shooting. The old cabin is kind of creepy, not too creepy. Again, it was done in day for night, so it was very annoying. Acting's okay, not terrible, not great. It's just mediocre. Actually, it's a little below mediocre. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen. Certainly, I've seen a lot of crap. But it was just sort of bleh. Not a whole lot to it. It pretty much, once that story, the story of the killer was the big meat and potatoes for me of the movie. And then after that, it was just sort of had this flat feel, this flat tone. There was not much going on, not much excitement to it. To me, the killer was a little, it wasn't very well thought out. Neither was the costume, or any of that. So, Blood Oath, I would say, the features, I guess I should say something about the features. I only watched one and part of it because I just didn't care enough about the movie to watch. But it has commentary by the director, behind the scenes featurette, behind the special effects behind the scenes featurette, outtakes, and storyboard slideshow. I only watched part of the making of because I didn't care for the movie that much, so I'm not going to sit there and watch an hour of special features about a movie I didn't like. So, but Blood Oath, if you really have to see it, rent it. Don't buy it. Not worth it. There are plenty other great slashers out there that trump this 10 times. If you want to see a slasher, good slasher, go back and watch Murder Loves Killers 2 review. Pick that up. Don't pick this up. If you got to see it, rent it. That's it. All right. Reviews in the future. Nightmares. The Baby. None of that. Hubba with a Shotgun. So, we'll see you then. Later.